Only about 5% of people on Earth have hazel eyes, and most of them have been told the wrong reason why. Hazel eyes can look green in the morning, brown in a dim room, and almost gold when sunlight hits them from the side. It looks like the eye is changing color. It isn't. And they're not explained by one rare gene. The better way to understand them is as a rare mix. Pigment sits in layers. Light enters at different angles. Several genetic signals influence how much pigment is made and where it shows up. So the color you see is not just a label. It is a small optical event happening every time someone looks into that eye. That is why two people can both have hazel eyes and still look completely different. One may lean green. One may look amber. One may have a brown ring near the pupil and a cooler edge around the outside. So the real question is not just why hazel eyes are rare, it is why they are so hard to pin down. Because once you understand the mix, hazel stops looking like one color. It starts looking like biology passing through light. The easiest way to picture hazel eyes is not as paint, but as tinted glass over a darker surface. Your iris has pigment, but it also has structure. And this is the part almost no one explains correctly. The back of the iris is usually dark. That layer gives the eye a deeper foundation, almost like the dark backing behind a piece of colored glass. Near the front is the stroma, a looser tissue where pigment is not always spread evenly. In a very dark brown eye, melanin is dense enough that most light gets absorbed before much else can happen. In a very light eye, there is less front pigment, so scattered light becomes more obvious. But what happens when an eye sits between those two extremes? This is where it gets interesting. Hazel sits in the unstable middle. There is enough melanin to create brown, amber, and gold tones, but not always enough to make the whole iris read as one solid brown. At the same time, light can scatter through the front layer and bring out cooler greenish tones. So when the room changes, the eye does not have to change. The conditions changed. A bright window may pull out gold near the pupil. Soft shade may make the outer iris look greener. A dim room may let the brown center take over. That is why hazel can feel hard to name. It is not one color hiding another color. It is a layered surface where pigment and light keep negotiating what your eye sees. But optics only explains what you see. It doesn't explain why the pigment is arranged that way to begin with. And that's where most rare gene explanations completely fall apart. This is where the phrase rare gene can mislead people. It sounds clean. One gene turns on, and hazel eyes appear. But eye color does not work like that. A better picture is a mixing table, where several controls influence how much pigment is produced, how it is stored, and how strongly it shows through the iris. Two of the most important controls sit near the OCA2 and HERC2 region. That area helps influence melanin, the pigment that makes eyes look darker or lighter, but it is not acting alone. In fact, a large genetic study has linked eye color to dozens of genetic regions, more than 50 in total. 50, not one. Other genetic variants can affect pigment production, pigment movement, and the final balance between darker and lighter tones. That is why hazel eyes can sit between categories instead of landing neatly inside one. They are a mixed pigment pattern produced by several biological instructions working together. This also explains why family predictions can get messy. A child does not inherit an eye color label. They inherit genetic pieces from both parents, and those pieces combine into a pigment pattern. Sometimes that pattern lands clearly brown. Sometimes it lands clearly blue. And sometimes it lands in the middle, where the iris has enough pigment to look warm, but enough light interaction to look green or gold under the right conditions. That middle zone is where hazel lives. So the rare part is not one hidden gene. It is the combination. And once you understand that, the ancestry question gets really interesting. But it's also where a lot of content online gets it dangerously wrong. Now, this is where eye color gets tempting. Because if genes influence pigment, and genes move through families, then hazel eyes can sometimes appear more often in certain population histories. That part is real. Human traits do not spread randomly. They move through migration, isolation, intermarriage, founder effects, and the slow reshuffling of ancestry over generations. Picture an old map under glass. Some roads are bold, some are faded. Some overlap so much that you can see a pattern, but you cannot point to one road and say, "This explains everything." Hazel eyes work more like that. A family line may carry several pigment-related variants. A region may have a higher chance of certain eye colors because of its population history. But one person's iris is not a passport. It cannot tell you exactly where their ancestors lived. It cannot prove identity. And it definitely cannot reduce a whole person to a color category. This is the part that often gets lost in ancestry content. People want the visible trait to give them a clean story. Green means this. Brown means that. Hazel means some rare ancient origin. But biology usually does not speak that cleanly. It speaks in probabilities, in overlapping signals, in patterns that become clearer across groups, but much blurrier inside one individual life. So yes, hazel eyes can be part of a genetic and ancestral story, but they are not the whole story. They are one visible outcome of many hidden inputs. It's pigment, it's inheritance, it's light, it's history, and yes, it's chance. That is why hazel eyes feel so personal. They are easy to notice, but hard to reduce, and that is exactly what makes them scientifically interesting. They sit between categories, and they remind us that human variation almost never fits inside the simple boxes we want to give it. So when hazel eyes seem to change color, they are not breaking a rule. They are showing you the rule. Eye color is not a flat label. It is biology passing through light. A hazel iris can carry warmth near the center, cooler tones near the edge, and a different look depending on the room, the sky, or the angle of someone's face. That does not make hazel eyes mysterious in a fake way. It makes them layered. And that is the bigger lesson. Human traits often look simple only because we give them simple names. Brown, green, blue, hazel. But under the surface, those names are shortcuts for pigment, structure, inheritance, ancestry, and chance. So if your eyes are hazel, or if you've ever noticed someone's eyes changing in the light, you're not seeing one color. You're seeing a rare mix become visible. Subscribe if you want to keep seeing the world this way.